32 years ago this week, this was the #1 song in America. For the whole month of July, 1967, this was the #1 song in America from the Association. And you know the Association's music: Windy, Cherish, Never My Love, Along Comes Mary. Jim Yester is with us today from the Association. He has a new CD out called Touches of Love, and he now goes to school and teaches kids to get high on music and not drugs. Jim, thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure, Steve. Great to be in the Quad City area.
Well, we're in Des Moines, and in Des Moines we have a lot of listeners who love oldies. They love oldies music. And, of course, many of the songs that you performed on are played over and over and over here. What about music today? When I think about your group, and the songs that you produced, like Windy and Cherish, we're hearing those now on the beautiful music stations, on Muzak. And yet, back when you did them in the mid-'60s, they were considered top of the pop chart songs. And so they have an old feel to them, and the music today just isn't the same, is it?
Well, the market today is so wide, you'll find a little bit of everything. Country has crossed over into the mainstream. There's an acoustic revival, and all of us came out of an acoustic movement. All of those of us in the association actually came through the folk industry when that was a commercial viable product. And there's a lot of return to that today, even though there's a lot of different things, the hip-hop and the rap and heavy metal and stuff like that. Well, when we were happening, there was acid rock and there was metal going on, and we were, kind of counter to the mainstream. And so I think there's, unfortunately, because of the classic stations, our music is still heard out there. But some of the things, even today, sound very contemporary, like Never My Love and Windy. They sound like they could have been recorded today.
That's right. Now, tell us about what the lifestyle is like for a performer back in the 60s. Of course, it's a success, but it's very quick success. And then if you don't follow it up with another success, all of a sudden you crash. And that can really mess somebody up.
Pressure to succeed, pressure to keep it happening. And unfortunately, one of the things that can happen from that pressure is you can burn yourself out. We were doing close to 300 days a year on the road, and to keep up with our concert schedule, and then plus, spending a month to 2 months in the studios, trying to keep up with the albums. It was quite a roller coaster ride.
So is it natural, and maybe natural is not the right word, but do most groups then fall back on things like drugs in order to help them make it through this roller coaster ride?
No, I wouldn't say that most of them do. Obviously there are those that do. Mostly it's, I think, from the very surrealistic lifestyle. It's definitely not a normal life. You're in this little cocoon that moves from place to place, and your frame of reference is the same, and everything changes around you. It's certainly surrealistic. But I don't think, by and large, most people. I think, definitely there are those who do, and unfortunately, that is the case. Hopefully, a lot of people are, getting the message nowadays that, there are certainly better ways to go.
Good. Now, we played earlier a clip from one of your songs called Along Comes Mary. And some people took that as a drug reference, a reference to marijuana.
Well, it was more a protest song to a society that condemns pot and condones alcohol and pills. Now, we were slated to play a grad night at Disneyland back in the 60s, and we were met at the gate by the Orange County Marshals, who were going to keep us from entering Disneyland because they said Along Comes Mary was a drug song. And
the association wasn't going to get into Disneyland?
We weren't going to get in.
Gosh.
And we had a newspaper clipping that the Marymount High School had selected Along Comes Mary as the senior class theme song because they interpreted it as being about the Virgin Mary. So beauty's in the eye of the beholder,
That's amazing. Jim Yester is with us, former member of the association. His new CD is called Touches of Love. And Jim, how can folks get your new CD?
Well, they can get the new CD and find out information about our anti-drug show.
Good.
At our website, which is saynoway.com.
Tell folks what you're doing now.
Well, now I'm involved with a program called Get High on Music, Not Drugs. It's myself and a young lady known as the Piano Princess, Linda Gentile. I met her in Atlantic City. I came back here with my group, Yester, Bellin, and Somerville, to play the Taj Mahal for a month. And about the fourth night, met her, and I invited her to our show, and I started hanging out in her show, and then I started sitting in with her. We wound up forming a partnership, and when our particular gig at the Taj Mahal was over, everybody went home. I wound up staying, and she and I became part of her program. Actually, she already had started a program about 6 months before that and was doing it by herself. And when I heard what she was doing, this Get High on Music, Not Drugs, boy, something just went click, and I said, this is perfect, because I really had never had closure with the death of Brian Cole, our original bass player who died of a drug overdose in '72. That was personally very tragic for me, because Brian and I were very close, and boy, that was a thing that just snuck up on all of us. We tried to stop it as soon as we found out about it, but it was too late, and he did himself in. And then when I learned that Linda was doing this, I said, that is just fantastic, because that will provide closure for me, and it's kind of payback for what I had to fight through during the 60s and all that, and fortunately came through unscathed.
So, Jim, do you find that you have a lot of credibility with students when you go in and give them this message?
Yeah, at least I get their attention, because I'm, a bona fide rock and roll dinosaur. and I have some gold up there on the wall, and so they all, their curiosity is piqued, so they at least listen to me from the get-go. And then what we do is we offer them alternatives to getting involved with drugs, alcohol, and tobacco, and we use Linda as a real positive role model, and then we emphasize hooking up with positive role models and avoiding the negative role models. I mean, so many kids will pick a role model because they're popular or a big sports hero or something, and we try and educate them that you got to pick your role models because of how they live, not because of what they do.
Very good point. Jim Yester is the guest, former member of the association. He has a new CD out called Touches of Love.
I've hungered for your touch.
Jim Yester from his new CD called Touches of Love. It seems like your new CD has a lot of Broadway standards, some remakes of some more recent hits. Tell us about the kind of music that you like to perform now.
Well, this particular album was a result of performing at the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, and we had a huge fan base from New York and Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and these people would request certain songs over and over and over. Actually, I was performing in Linda Gentile's show, The Piano Princess, and she got me into doing all this genre of Broadway and old standards. And these people would request these songs over and over again. And these songs, as the liner notes will tell you, are the most requested songs of that genre. And we decided, as a payback for those fans for their support, that we would do this CD. And it turned out just wonderful.
Don't you still go out and perform with some other members of groups? Yes,
I still perform with a group that is now called Yester, Bellin, and Somerville. It's myself and Bruce Bellin, the co-founder and co-writer of all the hit songs for the Four Preps, and David Somerville, the founder and lead singer on all the hits for the Diamonds. And we go all over the country with our show, and we've got a brand new CD out called Triple Gold.
Wow.
And I believe there's some information about that on the saynoway.com.
Great. So folks,
and also, I perform with my partner, Linda Gentile. This would have been our third year in mainland China. Third year in a row. We still may go. Of course, the problem that they had with the embassy kind of put everything on hold.
Yeah.
But it looks like we may go in October. So I perform internationally with her. And I also got a brand new band called Jim Yester and Yesteryear that I'm performing in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York area.
You're busy.
Just did our first couple of shows a couple of weekends ago, and it's just fantastic. 6 guys behind me, and they've learned just a whole score of association songs.
Yeah.
But we do those as well as some original stuff.
Jim, in the final moments, what advice do you have for young people who are interested in getting into music?
Practice, practice, practice. No, actually, one of the things, and this was told to me by a very famous show business manager, he said, just keep doing it, because talent, in the long run, talent will out. Talent will win. If you just keep performing your craft, you're gonna get happening eventually. Just don't give up.
That's great advice. Jim, it's been a real pleasure to talk with you. Thanks so much
you,
for being
Steve.
with us.
My pleasure.